Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Fix My Fees podcast, where merchant processing is so boring, I bring on interesting people and ask them questions about their business. I am your host, Tavius Washington, and today we have with us Wes Michael. How you doing today, Wes?
Hey, great to be here, Tavius. I'm excited to see what we have to serve up to everybody.
So I came across yours when looking into the health sector, as I've been going through the different facets of what I feel entrepreneurs should just know and understand as building a business. And what you're doing with basically being an advocate for people with rare diseases and things like that kind of pulled my attention, because I'd never even heard of it before. I didn't know that was a thing, right? So dive in and kind of let me know, like, what is it exactly that you're doing for people, and like how's your day to day is?
Yeah. So what we do is we serve a function. We're kind of like the matchmaker, the middleman, if you will. We have met so many people with rare, and now we've evolved over the years, rare and non-rare too, but people with various diseases, or the caregivers, like moms of kids or spouses, or you've got an elderly parent with dementia, anybody taking care of one, or patients. We meet them at events and through various means, and we give them the opportunity to take part in surveys and interviews to share their story confidentially. Nobody gets their name and address or anything. And for companies that are making treatments, making drugs, making devices, they need to hear from the people, not just from doctors and researchers. They want to hear from the patients that will use their product. What a concept, right? And so we have folks that are interested in sharing, and then we get requests from research companies that are working for the biotech companies and pharmaceutical and the devices and academics that say, "Oh my God, we're doing a hemophilia study. Can we find 100 people that will do this study?" So we are the matchmaker. We give people the opportunity to do that, and we pay them for that. We pay people $120 per hour of their time. So often it's like a Zoom interview, just like we're doing here, and they'll get questions and answers, and they'll get paid for that. Or it could be an online survey that they do on their phone for 15 minutes, and then they get paid at that same rate. It's a real win-win. People love that somebody cares about their story. Hey, if it could help or help those coming afterwards, they're all over that. And the pay helps too. It comes holiday time, they go, "Thank goodness it helped me pay for my gifts and things." And we asked our folks, because so many surveys pay with gift cards, and that's generally fine. But we asked our folks, and they said, "No, I can't pay my rent with a gift card. I can't pay my copay." Because a lot of people are in bad straits. You think about it, if you have a certain disease that's disabled you, or your child has one, and you've had to move, and oftentimes a person has to give up a promising career to take care of somebody 24/7. So they need real money, and we're happy to do that. So it's really worked out well. It's a real win-win for everybody.
Got it. So there, you're getting an opportunity to get the rare conditions out there more publicly, and then on the other side, the distributors or the producers get market research on things that they can do better for those
Right. They
clients.
can learn. So often they'll do these studies when they're working on a new treatment. For a new drug, it has to get there's various phases of trials they do, and it goes through the FDA. And when they get pretty close to saying, "Hey, this thing is going to market," they get excited, because that's what the value of a drug company is, the value of its new products that it's going to be coming out with. So they get excited about it, and they have to plan their marketing effort. And they do a lot of work planning to how they're going to talk to physicians and such. Obviously very important. But now they also include, how are we going to talk to patients? How are we going to say, is this something that you would ask your doctor about? Do you understand what we're saying? Are we explaining it well? Can you figure out our website to find answers to your question? All the things that you don't want to assume the answers to. You want to ask people, ask what they think of your product. So they come to us, especially that. And I like to say, so when we get a request, like if somebody gets an email, we email people with our request. We don't call people, right? They're not going to answer. Who's going to answer a phone for somebody that doesn't know? But they will answer their emails. They'll see our emails. But if somebody gets an email for a new study, it's good news. It means somebody's working on it. They're not just doing this for fun.
Right.
They're doing it because they've got, and I would say, I don't know if it's this good or this good, but it's a step in the right direction. They're doing something to make their lives better. And people are so excited to find out about that. So doing the research acts like a sneak preview a lot of times, the new treatments that may be coming available to them. So it's very, very exciting.
Yeah, it is. I didn't think of it like that as a sneak peek because before it goes public, before anyone knows, they get a
Yeah,
chance to kind of get that firsthand with it.
yeah,
How did you end up here?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't like I was 10 years old and said, someday I want to do this, right? It's like just things turn out that way. So I was a market research. I used to work General Mills, so like Wheaties and Total and Kix cereals, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Hmm.
Market research. Then I moved to the east and Baltimore. I worked for McCormick, the spice company, and worked in research and new products and such. And in the 90s, because I'm an old guy now, in the 90s, I moved into the healthcare field because at that time, there was a big change. All those ads you see on TV, right? Ask your doctor about this or that. That wasn't legal before then. That was made legal in the 90s. And so it was an interesting time because all these very sophisticated pharmaceutical companies, they knew everything about training a sales rep to go in to talk to a doctor one-on-one to make sure that they knew about their new drug. They knew nothing about TV or consumers or anything like that because it was all brand new to them. So it was
Right.
an exciting time to say, hey, here's how to communicate. It's a different ballgame. You don't want to be speaking doctor speak. You got to speak consumer speak. And you got to make sure people understand what you're talking about. And so I got into that. It was it was exciting times to do that. And what got me specifically into this, of the many different projects I worked on, one client came to us that was in the hemophilia space. Now, hemophilia, you may have heard that it's a bleeding disorder,
Hmm.
very rare. It was even rarer then because they treat it with factor. Now, in those days, they used human blood to make the factor. And guess what was happening in the 80s and early 90s, right? AIDS, HIV.
Yeah.
They didn't understand that. They were using that in the blood. They wiped out like a generation of people with hemophilia. It's a terrible tragedy. So it was very rare, but a client came to us, wanted to know more about the patients and their families. They wanted to say, how can we serve them better? What other programs and service can we do? It's not just about the treatments that we have. And so we said, okay, I was working for a small company then, and we went out to a big conference. It was called the National Hemophilia Foundation. There's a lot of events that different diseases have for people to get together, learn about new treatments, share their stories, things like that. So we went there, had our table, talked to people, and explained, hey, please sign up. If you do, you'll be involved in confidential surveys and interviews. You'll be compensated for it. And so it worked well. We got a lot of people. The client was very happy. We did a lot of research for them. And that would have been that, except a couple of years later, every year we go back out to wherever that conference was. It moved around from city to city.
Hmm.
And 2 or 3 years later, somebody from a different company came up and I said, I hear you have this patient hemophilia panel. Can we access it? Well, the answer was no, right? Because client A paid for it, client B can't have it. But
Right.
that gave me the idea, wait, why not create one of these panel? We call it a panel, community of folks. Why not create one that's not beholden to any one client? So they could answer questions that anybody might have, and they have more opportunities to share their voice and to get paid.
Right.
So that gave me the idea. And guess what? That was about the year 2000. I didn't do anything about it except talk about it and think about it until 2013. And then everything came together for me then. I was working for another company that ran a little short on funds and asked if I could work a few months without being paid. And my wife had been out of the workforce raising our kids, but they were like 11 or 12 then. And so she was looking for a job. Well, she found a job. And guess what? It had health insurance. Now we have, well, you could be arguing about what we do have and what we don't have, but we didn't have it at all. So it was all about making sure you had healthcare coverage, especially for your kids.
Right.
We had that job. And I said, okay, look, let me do this. Let me start this. Who knows where it might go? And guess what? The first thing I did was went back to the hemophilia conference because I knew it had worked. I had done it, and I'd been involved in that category, that condition, and knew that there would be demand. So that very first study we did was with hemophilia patients. So I started with that, and I didn't know whether it would just be me doing a few surveys a year in hemophilia. Well, now it's 13 years later. We've done 12,000 studies. We've covered 1,500 different conditions and diseases. We've paid patients over $18 million for their participation. And then earlier this year, I took my time, but we found a perfect buyer, and I sold the company to a wonderful company called Canova. I'm still working there because I want to make sure everything goes well for a while. But so we found a home to take us to even greater heights. So I went from just
Nice.
doing that to building it to selling it to, doing all this stuff. So Who knew? Who knew how it would work?
What was like your favorite part about doing this? Because it is interesting to be able to, I know you probably don't know or talk to everybody with all 1,500 conditions, but
It
you're
seems like
talking
it.
to people in different, you're talking to people with different background, different upbringings. Like, what is
Yeah.
your favorite part about what you do?
You know what I love, and what I still do to some extent. A lot of people do a lot more than I do now, but is going to these events and meeting folks. And it's amazing because at first you'll see people, and every disease is worse than the one before. There's a lot of horrible conditions out there. And you'll say, "Oh my God, I'm so lucky. My family hasn't suffered this," or whatever it might be. And then I think, "Oh my God, these people are doing it." But here they are working. They're at an event. They want to help others. Isn't it amazing? Then I have to remember, I'm not seeing them the day they got diagnosed. That was probably a pretty bad day. Though some people go years without a diagnosis. Sometimes at least that's a good thing that they finally find out what the condition is. But I'm not seeing them when they're going through all that, being told that what they have and how serious it is. I'm seeing them after they've pulled themselves together and worked with their family. And I'm seeing the people that are with their fighting spirit coming out and working with the advocacy groups and doing things. It's so invigorating to see those folks. Some people, their kids say will have a rare disease and they can't find anything. They start an organization themselves. And then all of a sudden they meet others. Social media is a wonderful thing. They'll meet other folks, they'll pull them together, then they'll raise money, and then they get people to research the disease. And some people have even started their own pharma companies. And it's funny, they'll say, "I don't know anything about this. I wish I had listened more closely in high school biology," right? Because you never know, it could hit anybody. And these diseases, you could have money or no money, whatever. It could affect you. It is that to me is so motivating and inspirational to see folks and the attitude they have and what they have to go through to fight these conditions. Some are deadly and they're not going to win, but it doesn't stop them.
Right. Yeah, social media has done a good job of expanding the presence of a lot of things, especially in the rare ones where, if the media isn't in a frenzy about something, you kind of can just get brushed off. So social
Right.
media has expanded it more. Do you help with that aspect? Do you help with the social media aspect in any way or the marketing or getting the message out there
We
once they
do, especially because we're always looking for folks. We get requests. We're
Yeah.
using that, and our team they do a lot of different social media. We have like over 50,000 Facebook followers. We have a wonderful Facebook page, and we put some inspirational message on. But we'll put down, hey, we have a specific study where we're looking for X or Y condition, and we'll do that. We work with so many of we referral partners, and a lot of those are individuals or patient advocacy groups. We'll help them because we have a team. We'll help them post things. We'll draft and say, hey, how does this work? Or they'll have an idea. So we'll help them spread the word and get it out there. And so it is because some of these conditions, there may be 5 in the world. It's like, and they find each other because somebody's on there looking. There's nothing more motivating, excuse me, than if your kid has a condition. It's like so they find each other and then they say, how can we work together? So it's really wonderful when we can help facilitate that.
That is cool. What are some things you wish other people knew about it in general? If there's ways that they can help, get involved, if they know somebody that is going through it, what is just things you just wish the general public would know about what it is you're doing?
I say 2 things. One is I love for people, like you said, you hadn't heard of us. A lot of the disease communities were well known, but a lot of things obviously don't know about us. I want them to realize there is an opportunity for them to share their voice. If they don't want to do, that's fine. Some people it's not the thing. Other people, oh my God, my family's tired of hearing me talk about it. We're sympathetic, like a moderator. These are trained folks that understand it, and people find it cathartic. They find it a real learning experience. I was just reading comments. We got a lot of comments back from the patients, and some of them talked about how much they had learned about the condition just by being interviewed because they were presented with information and things like that. So I wish people knew that we exist and that we could help them. And then the folks that we know that work with us, one of the things that we have to remind them, we tell them, sometimes people don't qualify for studies. And they're very frustrated because they want to, and we want them to too. But
Right.
the client will have certain criteria. Maybe they want somebody on a certain drug, and we can't say that because we don't want people to say yes when it might not be true. So we
Right.
can't tell them all the things, but people get very upset sometimes when they don't qualify, and they'll say, "You're using my data and I'll pay." It's like, no, no, no. If you don't qualify, nothing's used. I mean,
Right.
we don't want to It sounds to them like a scam. So if it's a scam, it's the worst designed scam in the world because we'd be out of business. So I realize we want them to qualify and participate, but we have to represent what the clients are looking for. And I just thank so many people that they persevere. They don't qualify for one or two, but then they do qualify for one because we can't control who's going to qualify and who's not. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the quote unquote the downside of the people feel, but it's a wonderful opportunity. As I said, we get thousands of people every year that take part, and then as I said, earned over $18 million over since we've started.
So I know you marketing for more clients from the panel, but do you also market yourself for the different opportunities for your clients, or do they
Yeah.
just naturally come to you because of what you do?
Well, it's both because it's certainly a lot of word of mouth among the clients, but we'll go to conferences. For example, I was one last week, a market research conference. So you want to make sure the market research firms, when they're looking for patients, know that we can help them. And we're very
Mm,
honest. We'll tell them exactly how many we have and how many may qualify. And if we can't get everyone they need, we can get so many because we don't want to over promise. So yeah, we conferences have been very important to us because there's certain ones. There's rare disease conferences, there are market research conferences, there's specific healthcare market research conferences. So we make appearances and we exhibit at a lot of those types of events. The other thing that's been really good about getting the word out to clients and potential clients is LinkedIn. I mean,
mm,
listen, you know about that. It's been really good for us because I think we're a little bit lucky. We're not trying to, like some of our clients sell sophisticated market research and they want to do a segmentation. And I love them for that. And I used to do things like that. But, you know, if you just post on LinkedIn, they're thinking, I have to talk to them. I have to have an in-depth discussion. I already have a supplier. That's not an easy way to sell. And then they'll say, well, let's not start with that fancy project. I'll start you on a small project. Ours is much simpler. Remember when they used to say, got milk,
yep.
got
Slow.
patients, if they're saying, oh my God, we don't have anything to lose. You have people with this thing. And if they ask around, we have a very wonderful reputation because we'd rather have a smaller group knowing that they're real and authentic than we just don't let anybody in off online that we're not sure about. So LinkedIn is kind of, it keeps people, oh, I want a patient. What was that company? Oh, Rare Patient Voice. So we get requests all the time from clients, and then people spread the word. Somebody will say, where do you find patients? Oh, you need to go to Rare Patient Voice. So there's nothing better, right, than word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
Because we trust, it's golden. So people spread the word. So all those different things amount to it. But you're right. It's an interesting thing because there's marketing to the patients on the one hand about what they can do and how we can help, and marketing to our clients on the other hand. And that was interesting when we had to pick a name because some companies will have different names for the
Hmm.
patients as for the clients. And I didn't want to have to do that, but I wanted to pick a name. I said the clients will kind of get it, but we need to make sure the patients understand. And that's where Rare Patient Voice. We kind of focused more on the patient so that they would know what it was all about. Hey, we're giving you a voice. We're letting you tell your story.
Yeah, but those conferences are different than the patient events, right? What do you do at the
Yeah.
events? I saw that.
Yeah. So there'll be there's a lot of different events. You may be familiar with, there's often a walk to raise money, like
Yeah.
MS walks, and we can go to those over time and meet a lot of folks. And usually that's more about people showing up on a Saturday or Sunday morning, and they've gotten pledges and it's money for a good cause, and they meet folks. But we'll be there to talk to them and say, hey, can you sign up? The other thing that's really valuable is there's educational conferences, especially when somebody's newly diagnosed, right? If you're a family member, people want to go, they want to learn as much as they can. And some of those might go on 2 or even 3 days. And that's a
Oh,
wonderful thing because the numbers will be smaller, but everybody there is so interested and so intent. And they'll visit everybody that has a table there, so we'll have a table and be able to talk to them. So those are very important. And we like to support them too, because by going, we're paying a fee there to exhibit and attend. And then we also offer these advocacy groups and the individuals, we offer them an opportunity. We call it being a referral partner. And people are in a support group or they might have a Facebook page. And we don't ask them to give us any names, but they can spread the word. And if the people they talk to come to us, we'll know who it's from because we give them their own URL with it. And we give them credit for it. We give people $10 for each person that they refer that we onboard. And so we're sending out several $1,000s every week to people. Some people make it kind of like a part-time job, or for an advocacy group, it's like a fundraiser. It's like a
Yeah.
passive fundraiser. So it's a wonderful way of, again, it's helpful to everybody.
Yeah, it's always good when you can have a win-win-win. You win,
Exactly.
they win,
Exactly.
everybody.
Even what I really like about it is it's a win for the patients, because if they don't want to participate, that's fine. That's totally up to them. But if they want to participate, they love it. They love to talk with folks. We get wonderful feedback, and then they get paid. Our clients love it because they're like, "Oh my God, I don't know how we would have found these. We would have had to make a decision without talking to them, or it would have taken us months." And even our competitor, we don't have like direct competitors, but there's a lot of other companies that will kind of sell it. Guess where they get them from? They come to us. So we help them too. So it's a win all the way around. Nobody's losing in this battle.
Yeah, creating that winning atmosphere makes it so that everybody's happy. You don't have to undercut anybody to
Yeah,
do.
exactly. We're friendly with everybody.
So what's happening next? So now that you've sold it, like brag about yourself for a little bit.
Yeah.
What's happening next for you? Or as things go on since you've sold it.
So I'm still involved. More and more other people are doing things, which was the idea, right? Wonderful company, Canova, that we're part of. So gradually, and that was the beginning of the year. So gradually, as the year ends, one by one, they'll have fewer things. I'll be trying to help any way I can. And then going into the future, I'll still be watching closely, but I'll be spending more time with my grandson, and I'll be, taking my walks, and I'll be going down to the beach, and all that fun stuff.
So you're finally set on retiring once
Yeah,
that's
that's
all.
right. I built this, what turned out to be a wonderful thing. It's off. It's like your kids, you raise them and they go off to college or the world of work, and you do your best, and then it's up to them. And that's the same here. It's like, I've done my thing. It's time for others to put their time and energy into it, and I'll watch from afar.
How's like your food intake? What are the different types of foods and things you like to eat when you're not, you know,
Uh, Well, going back to what I just had earlier today, my one-time favorite food is peanut butter. I just had it on celery for lunch with some other things. That's my go-to snack. I used to feel bad about putting the spoon into the peanut butter jar and saying, I felt like, oh, I shouldn't do that. It should be. Now I found out that's not bad. The bread is the enemy, and peanut butter is good, right? That's the latest thinking. So now I feel good about that. My wife is a wonderful cook, and she's studied. She could run a restaurant if she had time. She doesn't have time, and she makes wonderful things. And I have to be careful about eating small portions and saving some for the next day, because otherwise I just balloon right up.
overindulge?
And then some people think I do this for health reasons, but no, I've always loved my fruits. I love my fresh pears. We have peaches in August. When you get those peaches, there's nothing better. We planted a peach tree out the other year. I'm looking forward to getting peaches this year, and orange. I just love my sweet tooth. I satisfy with a lot of the fruits. So
Yeah, I like fruits too. I used to eat a lot of like sweets,
yeah,
cookies, and chips.
yeah.
And slowly it got replaced with Honey Crisp apple. I mean,
Yeah.
apples and oranges and mandarins. So yeah, I know what you mean.
And
It's like,
apparently, it's all about, they have sugar in it, but they've got fiber, and that's much better for your body. It's not just hitting your liver at once. So
right,
you
like the
know,
processed foods and stuff. So awesome. Well, Wes, I want to thank you for coming on here and chat with me today.
it's been fun. It's been fun. I hope people enjoy it and take something out of it.
Yeah, and if there is like, who should reach out to you? How can they reach out to you
Oh,
or to
good
your
question.
company if they wanted to,
So,
get involved?
so two things. If anybody's a patient or a caregiver, or they know somebody that's interested, and as I say, it's not just rare. Over time, we found out that people were asking us for everything. So any and all conditions, they should go to rarepatientvoice.com. Every information we can think of, we can put there, but please ask if you don't see it. And you can click a button, and they ask you some basic information to sign up. Most importantly is your email, because that's how we contact you and your disease. So we know we don't want to ask you. We don't put an email to you for the wrong disease. People get annoyed with that. We don't want to annoy people. We want people to like us.
Right.
So please check that out, rarepatientvoice.com. And me personally, if people want to get in touch, probably the best thing is LinkedIn. And just look for me in LinkedIn. there a lot. As I said, it's been really helpful for us growing the business. And if people have messages or whatever, I'm always happy to do that or share people's resumes, all that kind of good stuff that can happen there.
Awesome. That's cool. Thank you so much again. I'm going to make sure I take all that information. I'm going to throw it into the YouTube bio. That way it's real easy for them to click on.
Oh, good idea. Yeah.
Reach out to you there. And I appreciate you. But thank you again for coming on here. This is awesome. This is so different than what I'm used to.
Different. Yeah. It's been fun. And you know, so many people are affected by, you know, we all have a health problem at one time or other, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
we live forever. And so if anybody wants, it's the silver lining, right? Take advantage of it, spread the word, make some money from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially what you're doing for people with like rare. And like you say, you do help people now with non-rare, but giving them a bigger voice, letting it
Exactly.
known,
People
and they
need to
still
hear
get
it from them.
paid. I love that.
Yep. Paid and confidential. We're not selling their names. We're not sharing it with anybody. You know, we give them a secret ID code, and that's what we use.
I like that. You made sure you said that multiple times. Like, it's confidential. We're not.
Yeah, because that's in this
at
day
all.
and age, that's something to be concerned about, right?
It
You know?
is, yeah.
It's-
Yeah. But so being able to be anonymous, that's awesome. That's
I would say if we weren't that, we'd be out of business. So thank God.
awesome. Well, thank you again, Wes. I appreciate everything you did for being on here with me today.
Well, thanks, Davis. I had a great time.
All right, and thank you all for watching. Like I said, you have his information. It's going to be there in the bio. Reach out to him if you have any questions, if you want to participate, or if you know anyone who needs it. You know, get them the information to him, and then connect with Wes on LinkedIn. That's where I found him, so he is
Right.
on there, so it works. And if you have an interesting business like Wes dealing with the rare conditions, then reach out to me at Tavius@fixmyfeesteam.com, and we can schedule a podcast with you too. Thank you guys for tuning in, and good night.
All right. Bye-bye.